Welcome to the last day of the Rutgers Jewish Film Festival. My name is Sarah Portilla. I am the program coordinator for the Alan and Joan Bildner Center for the Study of Jewish Life. And I'm thrilled to be here with Levi Zini, who's the director of the film Yerusalem, the incredible story of Ethiopian Jewry. We have a live program happening at the same time in Rutgers Cinema, and they are having some sound issues over there. So you get me with the intro, and Karen is online as well, and we'll be asking questions and tag teaming this this program. So just as live things, technical difficulties happen, we're rolling with this, and we're really appreciative of Levi for joining us today. I just want to introduce Levi Zini. He's a leading documentary filmmaker in Israel with over 40 years of creating independent films, television, documentaries in a variety of genres, including art films, docu-activism, and current affairs episodes. From 2009 to 13, Levi served as chief commissioner of Israel's premier documentary channel, Channel 8. He also is a recipient of a variety of awards from local and international festivals. And he was awarded Israel's Minister of Education Award for documentary filmmaking in 1999 and 2012. From 2015 to 2018, Levi was a board member of the Israeli Documentary Forum, and he is also a lecturer and judge for film funds and festivals. So we're so thrilled to welcome you, Levi. I'm very excited that I get to participate now in this program, and we just want to start out by asking, how did you get involved in this project? What drew you to it?
First of all, hello, New Jersey. Thank you for having me. I must admit, first of all, it's my profession. So I'm a filmmaker, and I'm making mostly documentary films. So it's that's one reason. Other reason is that I'm quite sure that to struggle or to fight racism, you should know the other. And in Israel, the Ethiopian Jews suffer from racism. And I thought that if the Israelis come to know the tradition, the story, the braveness, they might treat them differently. And that's one of the aims of this film. And there is something else. I'm quite interested in my films in the conflict of immigration and the second generation of immigrants. And Israel, as you know, is an immigrant country, and is a very unique immigrant country. There is other immigrant countries in the world, like Canada, States, Australia, and so on. And what unites the people there is the dreaming about the future, the American dream. That's what unites everybody over there. In Israel, we do have the American dream, but at the same moment, we are digging deep into the ground to find our past, our roots, and our past. And we are trying to emerge our past, our Jew past, our Jew roots, with the aim to be a modern country in the Middle East. And that's something that creates a lot of conflicts, that for a storyteller, a documentary storyteller, brings a lot of subjects. One of them is this really amazing Jew story about the Beta Israel or they, as they prefer call themselves, is Ethiopian Jews. That's what brought me to the film, and I enjoyed very much doing it. It was amazing for me.
I'm sure. I mean, so were there Ethiopian immigrants on the film set with you? Were they working for the film at all? And
No, of course, I couldn't do it without them.
And what did they think? What were their thoughts on the film? And
I must say that the fans of the film is the people from the community, the Ethiopian Jews community. Because when you are immigrant or second generation of immigrants, your parents doesn't tell you about the past. They want you to be from the state that you come to it, born in it. They want you to be Israeli. So they knew, and they still know, a very little about their past, about their parents, about the braveness of their parents. And they are really fans of this film because they learn about their parents with this film. And I worked with most of the people that worked on the film was Ethiopian Jews, and they are very talented. And now as a producer, I produce films to those who worked with me then. So it was, they contribute a lot to the film. I couldn't do it without them.
was there some moment or something specific that stood out to them that they couldn't believe that they hadn't heard before, that they hadn't known because their parents just didn't?
I'll go back for a moment. In Israel, the narrative is that our brave soldiers went to Africa, dangerous themselves, and there they pick up those black Jews and they brought them on their hands, master's heads, of course, to our country. And actually, we didn't, in the story, we didn't give, in the narratives that we knew in Israel, we didn't give the real, I lost the word. In a minute I'll find it.
The real story.
Contribution to the Beta Israelis themselves and to the Jews, mostly from North America. And as you saw the film, there was in Belgium some Jews that in Europe Jews that was held. It was Ethiopian Exodus was is a Jewish story. It's not just a story of the Mossad or the Air Force or so on. It is a Jewish story, amazing one, with biblical proportion, and it's quite an Ethiopian Exodus. It's amazing Jew segment in the Jews' history.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us a bit about the narrator of the film?
Yeah, Mehereta. Mehereta, she arrived to Israel in Operation Moses. She arrived without her parents at the first, and as I told in the film, the operation was revealed, and the Sudanese stopped it, and her parents left in Sudan for more 6 years, and they arrived to Israel just in a Solomon operation in 1991. So she is a politician, very talented one. and talented narrator. And she felt that the film is telling her story in a way. So it was incredible to work with her, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a powerful, powerful story. So, I'm sure that there was, when you started this project, did you think about a particular audience that you wanted to see this film?
I aimed it to the Israeli people. I aimed it to those people who that think that that the Ethiopian are Africans. I mean, primitive Africans. I did it for the for those racist people in Israel. They didn't appreciate that this community, wonderful community, actually this community forced themselves on Israel. Israel doesn't want them. The Orthodox people in Israel doesn't recognize in their Judaism. They didn't want them. In 48, while Israel established and the government ran everywhere to bring Jews to the small communities that was built here, they didn't want the people of Beta Israel, and they actually forced themselves on Israel during the struggle in the 70s. And we should remember, just I said it is a Jewish story. In the 70s, most of the Jewish was aimed to the Soviet Union, and the Israeli Jews that was kept over there under the Iron Gate. And very little put attention to the suffering of the Jewish in Ethiopia. And it was quite a struggle to make Israel, the Israeli government, to bring them in. And I must say that our Prime Minister Menachem Begin is the first one that orders the Mossad people to bring the Ethiopian Jews to Israel. And then it started from the Israeli side, pushing the move to Israel, what started from the Ethiopian long before. And even in the state and in Canada, the activists started working about it I think from about the beginning, the last year of the 60s. In 68, there was a guy, a filmmaker, his name is Meir Levin. He was the first one who went with camera to Ethiopia and shoot and document the community over there. The first, as I mentioned it in the film, the first connection between the Jews in the diaspora and the Ethiopian Jews happened in 1904, while a guy named Yakov Feitlovich, which is a Polish guy, let's say, okay, I say guy, that went from Paris to Ethiopia, and he made a contact with the leaders of the community. And at first they didn't believe that there is a white Jew. They were sure they are the last Jews in Israel, in the world. And when they saw this white guy, they were sure that he is one of those Christians that try to make them change to Christianity, and there was no, in their opinion, there was no white Jews at that moment, and they came to know that there is, and they are thinking that they hold that Judaism, that the only way to be Jew is as the Orthodox say, and it's a pity.
You know, it's
But if I may jump to our days, I have some critics about it in nowadays, because the way the Orthodox in Israel, which are very powerful in Israel, treat the reforms and the conservative in Israel.
I was going to ask you about that.
In a way, I can see the same treatment, same awful way of. I mean, they are tearing apart the Judaism. It's awful, to my opinion. It's my opinion.
Who owns authentic Judaism, right? I mean, that's really when you said that, that was something that came to mind for me, that there's the people in power seem to have a monopoly on what they decide is authentic Jews and authentic Judaism. And it puts
what most bad about it, that they are so powerful in Israel that in a way it becomes the policy of Israel, which shouldn't be that way.
Right, their political power, and I mean, the size of community is interesting, right? That they're really, I mean, percentage-wise, a smaller percentage, but seem to have a exceptional amount of power to define Jewish.
We jump to our days for a moment, yeah.
So I do see a question in the chat. This is from Edna. She asks, she says, as you indicated, Israel consists of various immigrant waves, different cultural backgrounds, and each aliyah suffered by different stigmas. But can you be more specific why today, after 70 years plus, Ethiopian Jews are stigmatized? Do you think that it is a color issue influenced by some kind of racism, or just due to the skepticism towards their Jewishness? How far were you surprised by Israeli discrimination? But I guess we've been talking about that a bit.
Yeah, I'll say something. From the religious perspective, from till today, the Orthodox people in Israel don't recognize their Judaism. So from the religious side, it's a religious question. But do
you think it's based in a racism?
I hate to say it, and I speak from my from the throat of my Ethiopian friends. They do feel it's because of the blackness, because of color. They do, they sure is because of blackness, because they are black. And I'll tell you, at the moment, I'm producing a film about, we called it Sister in Blood. It's about, the director are two people that worked with me on Jerusalem, Jerusalem. They are the director of this film, and I'm the producer. It's about three women that lost their brothers because of the police brutality. And they feel, I mean, they feel, it is that way, that the police, when they see a black man, they are more suspicious and they treat them badly. And in the last 20 years, there was 13 young Ethiopian Jews that was killed because of the police brutality. And those three sisters, that lost their brother because of it are fighting against this and
The uphill battle.
They are looking for justice. They are looking for justice. So it's yeah, in a way it's because they are black. I hate to say it.
It's I hate to hear it, but it's not an uncommon thing that we are dealing with in the United States as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of more questions here. So somebody asked, it was Arnold. He asked, how many Ethiopian Jews are still waiting in Africa to emigrate to Israel?
Again?
How many Ethiopian Jews are still waiting to emigrate?
Oh, that's it. It's a very complicated question. There is Beta Israel. Those Jews that kept their Judaism all those centuries. And there is what they call Falashmua. Falashmua, it's a people, a Jewish, that converted to Christianity and lived as a Christian. And when it started coming to Israel, they go back to be Jews. And when in 1991, when Operation Solomon was made, sorry, there was a lot of Falashmura people that arrived to the embassy, to the Israeli embassy in Addis Ababa, but there they used what they call the book Jew. I mean, there was a book that in 76, somebody from the Sochnut went all around, traveled all around Ethiopia and write down the families that are Jews. There was 28,000 Jews in Ethiopia, according to this book.
Wow.
And what they decided that to Israel in Operation Solomon, just the families that was written in this book came to Israel. And there was a lot that was left behind. The problem, as I see it, the moment, is more as a humanity problem, because there was families that was separated, and we must unite those families again, and according to the press at the moment, the county at the moment, there is about 7,000 Falashmura people in Ethiopia. And from time to time, Israel lets some unite families. But she's doing it very slowly. And the question is, does its opportunity to run away from the civil war in Ethiopia, or do they really want to come? I don't know. But anyway, it's a humanity. If family is separated, we should solve this problem as soon as possible.
And if it's families, one would think that they have connections and that it wouldn't be a big stretch for them to want to come and be with their family, and whether
and it should be, we should do it. It's the humanity's matter.
Fascinating. So Melvin asked, how does the attitude of Mizrahi Jews to Ethiopians differ from, or is it the same as Ashkenazi Jews? Are they more accepting, less accepting? Is there, do you know?
I don't know. I don't think there is a difference. By the way, I am Mizrahi. My father immigrated to Israel from Morocco, and I am son of a Moroccan immigrant. I'm not sure there is a difference. Again, we are not speaking about the Ashkenazi, what we call here the Orthodox Lita'im. There is a, which is controlling or which is ruling the Orthodox side of the Israelis. They don't recognize the Ethiopian Jew as a Jew. They don't think they are Jew. They are not. They are, will not allow them to pray with them, or
Right,
to study with them. Again, I'm speaking about the Orthodox Ashkenazi Jew,
right.
the Lita'im.
Somebody, you know, it's interesting that we're talking about Ethiopian Jews, obviously, but somebody asked if you're planning to research or do any documentary about Ugandan Jews as well. And, you know, it's very...
You're speaking about the question about NGOs, the support. What is the question you read?
No, this was a question about whether you're going to do some research or documentary on Ugandan Jews, Jews from Uganda.
No, 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 no.
Not on your list.
No, not on my list, no.
So yeah, I guess there was a question about it. Are there Israeli NGOs that support the education and community development in for the Ethiopian Jewish community?
As I said before, it's a Jewish Ethiopian exodus is a Jewish story all around.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of them. There is a lot that support Ethiopian Jews in Israel, the second generation as the third generation. There is a lot of Jews that are contributing a lot to the community.
And to their...
by the way, I'm not at the moment we are intent to make a film about the participation of the North American Jews in the Ethiopian Exodus. It's a story that nobody told it. And
so
it's
there's more to the story, right?
So to tell it.
So this story isn't over yet, is what you're saying. There's more to be told about the Ethiopian experience from North American involvement.
Yeah.
Is that also, I mean, is that also in documentary form, or is this more TV oriented? Are you trying to...
Again, because I'm a documentary filmmaker, I think it will be in the same way, in my language.
So there's more story to be told. You're still going on with this.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. I see a very long question here about that Israel is going to delay bringing 5,000 Jewish Ethiopians that are in danger because of the current war in Ethiopia. How can we help bring the they want to know how to help. They're asking how they can help.
I must say, I'm not the one to ask him about it. But there was a North American, they closed it at the moment, AAEJ, that was, if you Google AAEJ, you'll find a way to go to help. And
gotcha.
There is another question here.
Yeah, it's Karen actually asked, is there there's a memorial to Beta Israel who died before reaching Israel.
Yes, there is a memorial. We shoot over there. It's in Herzl Mountain in Jerusalem.
And when did it go up? When was it?
I think
corrected?
It's about 5 years ago. 5 or 6, no, more than about. I'm not sure. Between 10 to 10, let's say 10 years ago, they built it. They put it over there. Mm-hmm. It's in the Herzl Mountain, just near the place that our the military I lost the word, about the military cemetery.
Okay, so I have one more question from the audience, and then I'll ask you one final. So we're being asked if Beta Israel Jews were required. Were they required to undergo conversion, or was it only Falash? Yeah.
No, they asked in 84 all those Beta Israel people that arrived to Israel at the 80s was forced to conversion, and then they came out against it and fought against it, and since then they are not. They don't need to convert. The Falashmua are converting. All the Falashmua. There is a lot of camps in Ethiopia. There are few, not a lot. There are few camps in Ethiopia that those people from the Falashmua arrived to and convert over there, and it's quite. I mean, it's something I don't like in a way, because I'll tell you, they never had a tefillin in Beta Israel. They don't have a talit. There has a different the way of making their Judaism. I mean, they are from the first temple people, and they are trying over there to make them like everybody, which and they are losing their uniqueness by that way, to my opinion. Again, it's all my opinion.
Being forced to conform to an Ashkenormative way of Judaism.
And it's a pity, because we are losing what we as a society, we as a Jews, we are losing what they serve.
The diversity.
All those more than 2,000 years ago, in a time of more than 2,000 years.
It's true. It's true. So one last question for you. You told us about a couple of things that you're working on. What's coming up down the pike for you most imminently? What's happening? What are your projects that you're working on right now?
Since this film, I did a film series, 3-episode series about Menachem Begin, and afterwards I did about Ariel Sharon, our prime minister, both prime ministers. And at the moment, I'm producing this film of my friends, and I'm producing a film about an amazing story from the Holocaust, about an unknown story about brave women. There was in Auschwitz, there was a underground, women underground that struggle powder, how do you say it? Powder, military powder.
Like gunpowder.
I lost the word at the moment.
They smuggled it?
Yeah, and smuggled it, and the Sonderkommando rebellion in Auschwitz was used these things that they smuggled, and 4 women was hanged a few days before the camp was before the Soviets came to the camp, and the German ran away. And we are making film. We are making film about this story, amazing story about really brave women.
So when it comes out,
actually, it was a bad year for myself, because I had how I should say it, a private tragedy, and it was and I'm still not in my best. I'm
Well,
still
I had a very fascinating conversation with you just now, so we really appreciate you coming via Zoom. Next time, I hope you're traveling with your film and you'll come visit us in New Jersey. And you know, we look forward to your future work because it's fascinating and amazing, and you're telling really important, wonderful stories.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody. I hope they enjoy the film. Really.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Everybody, this is the last day of the film festival, so if you haven't finished watching your films, today is the day to do it. Things are closing up at midnight tonight, and we really appreciate you joining us today and over the last 2 weeks, and we'll see you very soon.
In my
Thank
place,
you,
I
Levi.
say good night. In your place, I say good afternoon.
Good night to you. Yes.
So bye, bye. Thank you.
Thank you.